Eva Anna Paula Hitler, a name etched into history for less than 40 hours, yet a life inextricably linked to one of its darkest figures. For years, she was the silent companion, living in the shadow of Adolf Hitler, her existence a carefully guarded secret from the public eye. Beyond the stark facts of her brief marriage and tragic end lies a hidden narrative, a collection of unseen moments that revealed the private world of a woman living at the epicenter of unparalleled power and unfathomable evil, yet often seeming blissfully unaware of the horror she enabled simply by her presence. Her smiling face here, in a colorized image from her private collection, offers a deceptive glimpse into a life that was anything but ordinary.
Her world, for much of their relationship, revolved around the Berghof, Hitler's mountain retreat in Bavaria. From this vantage point, she often gazed towards the majestic eagle's nest, a symbol of power in the Alpine heights. While the world outside descended into war and chaos, Eva cultivated an insulated existence there, far removed from the public duties expected of a dictator's partner. Her life was one of leisure, fashion, and photography, often capturing the very moments that now offer us these rare insights into Hitler's private persona.
In the mid-1930s, Eva appeared to lead a leisurely existence, often sunbathing or relaxing in a hammock, seemingly detached from the escalating political turmoil that gripped Germany and eventually the world. These moments, often captured by her own camera or those of her close circle, painted a picture of domestic tranquility that was a deliberate counterpoint to Hitler's image as the austere, dedicated leader, a persona he meticulously crafted for public consumption.
This portrait of a young Eva Braun further exemplifies the curated image. When she first met Hitler in 1929, she was just 17 years old, nearly twice his junior. The soft focus used in many of these early photographs was not accidental. It often served to subtly mature her appearance, perhaps to lessen the significant age gap between them and maintain a veneer of respectability for Hitler's private life.
Despite her seemingly vapid existence, Eva was a surprisingly modern woman in some respects. She had a passion for fashion, owning over 200 pairs of shoes, and was an avid amateur photographer and videographer. This particular image captures her in a surprisingly stylish outfit, interacting playfully with a squirrel. Her photographic pursuits weren't merely a hobby. She was responsible for a significant portion of the candid, private footage and stills of Hitler and his inner circle, invaluable records of their hidden lives, often intended solely for their own viewing.
Eva's background was modest. Her father, Fritz, was a schoolteacher, and her mother, Franziska, a seamstress. They lived a relatively normal middle-class life in Munich. While Eva's relationship with Hitler was kept secret from the German public, her family was well aware of it. They benefited from her proximity to power, receiving financial support and a degree of social elevation. This Christmas photo of her parents, taken in 1940, offers a glimpse into the family that raised the woman who would become so intertwined with the most infamous figure of the 20th century. Eva's entry into Hitler's orbit began at age 17 when she started working as an assistant and model for Heinrich Hoffmann, Hitler's personal photographer. It was in Hoffmann's Munich studio that she first encountered the future Führer. Their relationship developed slowly, marked by a significant power imbalance. Initially, she was just one of several women in his life, but her quiet devotion and willingness to remain in the shadows eventually set her apart.
Her photographic skills, honed under Hoffmann, were not just for personal use. They were subtly exploited to capture carefully posed, though seemingly candid, propaganda images, such as this one of Hitler with children. These images were designed to soften his public image, presenting him as a benevolent leader, a stark contrast to his true monstrous nature. Notice her remarkably anachronistic platform shoes, a testament to her keen interest in fashion, even as she documented the regime's carefully constructed facade.
Eva's younger sister, Margaret, known as Gretel, was a frequent presence at the Berghof, often alongside other figures of the Nazi elite like actress Elsa von Moellendorff. Gretel was more outgoing than Eva, but also relied on her sister's connection to Hitler for her own social standing. The Berghof functioned as a bizarre court, a bubble where the leading figures of the regime could relax and socialize, often far removed from the horrific reality of their policies.
By 1936, Eva had firmly cemented her position within Hitler's Berghof household near Berchtesgaden. While never given an official title or public role, she was, in essence, the lady of the house. She lived a remarkably sheltered life throughout World War II, her days filled with sports, fashion, movies, and her beloved photography. This image of her performing an athletic pose in the mountains, perhaps unaware of the camera, perfectly encapsulates her private, carefree world, a stark contrast to the suffering engulfing Europe.
Eva's devotion to Hitler was absolute, particularly notable given his past tumultuous relationships, most famously with his half-niece, Galie Raubal. Galie's mysterious death by suicide in 1931 while living in Hitler's Munich apartment deeply affected him and has long been a subject of historical debate. Eva entered Hitler's life not long after this traumatic event, and her calm, unassuming presence, coupled with her unwavering loyalty, likely provided him with the stability he craved but rarely found.
1935 proved to be a pivotal year for Eva. It was during this period that she made 2 documented suicide attempts, driven by Hitler's neglect and his preoccupation with other women and political matters. These desperate acts finally compelled Hitler to take her more seriously. Shortly after, he purchased a house for her in Munich and began spending significantly more time with her, eventually bringing her to the Berghof, transforming her from a casual acquaintance into the secretive, long-term companion, a role she would hold for the next decade.
Eva's family ties deepened her connection to the inner circle. On June 3, 1944, her younger sister, Gretel Braun, married SS General Hermann Fegelein, Heinrich Himmler's liaison officer to Hitler. This wedding was a major social event at the Berghof, attended by Hitler himself. This captured moment, showing the merriment and music, underscores the strange normalcy of life within Hitler's immediate entourage, even as the war turned decisively against Germany. Fegelein, however, would meet a grim end, executed by Hitler's orders in the final days, adding another layer of tragedy to Eva's story. Despite her intimate relationship with Hitler, Eva Braun was largely absent from public view. Her attendance at the Nuremberg rally in 1935 as a member of Heinrich Hoffmann's photographic staff was a rare exception. Even then, she was primarily there to document the event, maintaining her facade as a mere employee. This limited public exposure was a deliberate choice by Hitler, who feared that revealing a mistress would undermine his carefully cultivated image as a self-sacrificing leader dedicated solely to Germany. By 1944, as Germany's fortunes waned, Eva's presence at Hitler's side, particularly at the Berghof, became even more constant. While their public appearances together remained virtually non-existent, private photographs, like this one from Berchtesgaden, reveal a quiet intimacy. Eva was often tasked with managing the domestic affairs of the Berghof, ensuring Hitler's comfort and privacy,
a testament to her deeply personal, almost wifely role.
Many of the most candid and humanizing images of Adolf Hitler come from Eva Braun's personal photographic collection. She had a knack for capturing him in unguarded moments, like this one on January 15, 1935, as he spoke on the phone, celebrating the Saarland's return to Germany. These images, often taken without his explicit posing, offer a rare, unsettling glimpse into the man behind the dictator, preserved precisely because they were part of Eva's private world.
Even during public celebrations, Hitler's private thoughts often turned to Eva. On New Year's Eve, 1936, after wishing guests a Happy New Year, he reportedly called Eva Braun shortly thereafter. This small detail illustrates the extent to which she was embedded in his personal life, a constant presence even when she wasn't physically beside him. She was his confidant, his companion, and the one person to whom he seemed to feel a genuine, albeit possessive, attachment.
Within the tight-knit, often sycophantic inner circle at the Berghof, Eva Braun was sometimes the lively center of attention. Here she is pictured with Dr. Joseph Goebbels, the Minister of Propaganda, and other associates. Not everyone was fond of her. Albert Speer, Hitler's chief architect, for instance, reportedly viewed her as frivolous and often appears somewhat somber in the background when she was present. Despite her social standing, she was keenly aware of her unofficial position, often striving to gain more respect and acceptance from the higher-ranking Nazi officials.
Eva and her sister Gretel often indulged in habits that subtly defied the strictures of Nazi ideology. While the regime promoted a puritanical image and discouraged vices like smoking, Gretel Braun is here seen discreetly enjoying a cigarette. These seemingly small acts of rebellion highlight the disparity between the public image the Nazis projected and the private lives of their elite, who often enjoyed privileges and freedoms denied to the ordinary German citizen.
As the Third Reich crumbled in April 1945, Eva Braun found herself with Hitler in the Führer bunker beneath Berlin. The events of their final days are intrinsically linked, culminating in their suicide pact. A fragment of Adolf Hitler's uniform, likely salvaged from the ruins of the bunker or among his personal effects, serves as a grim artifact of that desperate end, a tangible reminder of the collapse of his empire and the fate he shared with Eva.
Eva's affections extended beyond human companionship. She was known for her deep affection for animals, particularly Hitler's German shepherds. She lovingly cared for them, providing a nurturing presence amidst the harsh realities of their existence. This particular image, showing her with Hitler and his dogs, highlights a softer, more domestic side of their heavily guarded private life, often presented in stark contrast to the atrocities committed by the regime.
Eva Braun's presence in Hitler's inner circle meant regular interactions with the regime's most powerful figures, like Albert Speer, Hitler's chief architect and later Minister of Armaments. Although Speer reportedly found Eva superficial and often excluded her from serious discussions, her enduring relationship with Hitler meant she was a constant, if unofficial, fixture in these elite gatherings. She was, in essence, a silent witness to many of their strategic and personal discussions.
Despite their differing personalities and Speer's occasional dismissiveness, Eva Braun and Albert Speer did share moments, as seen in this rare photograph. These glimpses offer a unique perspective into the personal dynamics within Hitler's inner circle, a world of intertwined loyalties, ambitions, and sometimes subtle resentments. Eva's position was unique, not one of power, but of unparalleled access to the dictator himself.
Albert Speer's proximity to Hitler was, of course, far more direct and critical than Eva's. This image of Speer and Hitler at the Wolf's Lair, or Wolfschanze, during World War II, underscores Speer's role as a key planner and implementer of Hitler's vision. While Eva enjoyed her leisure at the Berghof, Speer was immersed in the machinery of war and destruction, embodying the dark functionalism of the regime.
Hitler's regard for Speer's organizational genius was immense, as evidenced by this award presentation between March and June 1943. Speer, the architect of the regime's wartime production, was an indispensable figure. This stands in contrast to Eva, whose contributions were purely personal, maintaining Hitler's comfort and providing companionship, demonstrating the two vastly different spheres of influence within Hitler's tightly controlled world.
Before the final collapse, Eva Braun's life at the Berghof was filled with what seemed, on the surface, to be happier times. Her love for animals, captured in this tender moment with a white rabbit, offers a fleeting glimpse of her personal innocence, juxtaposed against the backdrop of the monstrous regime she inhabited. These images from her private collection, largely unknown to the public during her lifetime, reveal a woman who created a domestic idol amidst the brewing storm of war and genocide.
As the end approached, Eva Braun's personal connections became even more poignant. Among her closest confidants was Herta Schneider. It is believed that Eva penned at least 2 final letters to Herta from the besieged Führer bunker just hours before her death. These letters, if they still exist, would offer invaluable insights into Eva's state of mind in her final moments, a testament to the private affections she held on to even as her world disintegrated. In the chaotic, desperate final days within the Führer bunker, amidst the sounds of Soviet artillery, Eva Braun made the choice to stay by Hitler's side. On April 29, 1945, a justice of the peace named Walter Wagner was hastily located and brought to the bunker to officiate their marriage. For Eva, it was the culmination of a 16-year clandestine relationship, finally legitimizing her role for a mere handful of hours before their shared demise. The grim aftermath of their final act unfolded rapidly. Within hours of their wedding on April 30, 1945, Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun committed suicide. Later, American soldiers inspecting the bunker discovered the sofa believed to be where they died, with visible bloodstains on the carpet, a chilling testament to the brutal finality of their lives and the collapse of the regime they represented. Among Eva Braun's private collection of photographs, a striking and controversial image stands out, a self-portrait of her in blackface. This portrayal, shocking and offensive by today's standards, underscores the sheltered and racially homogeneous environment in which she lived, isolated from broader cultural understanding or moral reflection. It serves as a stark reminder of the deeply problematic worldview inherent within the Nazi regime and its adherents, even in their most seemingly innocent private moments. According to official Soviet records, the bodies of Hitler and Eva Braun were carried into the bunker's courtyard after their deaths and drenched in gasoline. They were then set ablaze in a hurried attempt to destroy all evidence. This macabre ritual, performed under the watchful eyes of Hitler's inner circle, was intended to prevent their remains from falling into enemy hands and becoming symbols of Allied victory, marking a brutal end to their intertwined lives. In the final days, as the Red Army closed in on Berlin, Henrietta von Schirach, a member of Hitler's social circle, suggested Eva Braun go into hiding, but Eva resolutely refused. Her determination to stay with Hitler, even in the face of certain death, speaks to a profound, almost fatalistic loyalty. She had lived in his shadow, and she was prepared to die in it, choosing a shared end over any possibility of a life without him. Hitler, in a final act of acknowledgement, named Eva Braun in his political will, drafted just hours before their deaths. He bequeathed her 12,000 Reichsmarks annually after his death, a testament to his intention to provide for her even in a world that would cease to exist for them. This detail highlights the peculiar blend of domesticity and delusion that characterized their final moments amidst the total collapse of his 1,000-year Reich.
Eva Braun's private photographs often depicted seemingly idyllic, almost normal, scenes from the Berghof, softening Hitler's public image. This image of Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun with a child, Ursula Uschi Schneider, presents a domestic tableau far removed from the atrocities committed by the regime. These carefully curated personal snapshots were meant to convey a benign, accessible leader, a stark contrast to the brutal reality of his actions.
Another moment with Ursula Uschi Schneider further illustrates the casual, family-like atmosphere Eva tried to cultivate around Hitler. These images, designed for private consumption, demonstrate Eva's understanding of Hitler's desire to project a gentler side within his intimate sphere, despite his public persona and the horrific policies he enacted. They are a window into the peculiar dichotomy of their private lives versus the public devastation they wrought.
This rare and intimate photo, taken at the ski resort Garmisch-Partenkirchen, captures a relaxed Hitler with Eva Braun. His hand placed possessively over hers on the table speaks volumes about the nature of their relationship, one of deep personal connection, though largely hidden and controlled by him. These are the unique moments Eva, with her camera, often captured, offering insights into the private man that few others witnessed. Many of Eva Braun's photographs captured truly candid moments, free from the rigid poses often associated with official Nazi photography. Here, she walks alongside Hitler, holding her camera, ready to document another fleeting moment. These images, often spontaneous and personal, form the bulk of what we now know about Hitler's private life, providing an invaluable, albeit unsettling, archive of their existence together.
Hitler, despite his public image as an asexual leader dedicated only to Germany, held a clear fondness for Eva. He often expressed concern for her, inquiring if she was well after engaging in sports, or chastising her if she was late returning for tea. These small, human details, revealed through the recollections of those close to them and subtly visible in candid photographs, paint a picture of a relationship that, within its own twisted confines, possessed elements of a conventional partnership.
In her final hours, after 1 o'clock post-meridian on April 30th, 1945, Eva Braun and Hitler bid farewell to their staff and inner circle in the Führer bunker. Later that afternoon, around 3:30 post-meridian, a loud gunshot was reported. Eva took cyanide, while Hitler shot himself. It was a desperate, prearranged end to lives that had profoundly shaped history, culminating in a shared suicide pact as their world collapsed around them.
Eva Braun's life, as revealed through these rare and unseen photographs, was a study in paradox. She lived a seemingly idyllic, often frivolous existence, documented by her own hand, while inextricably linked to a man responsible for unimaginable atrocities. This image of her, relaxed after a swim, encapsulates the mundane normalcy she tried to preserve amidst the chaos. Her story is a profound reminder that even the most monstrous figures have private lives, and that those who share them, however seemingly innocent or detached, become forever entwined in history's most harrowing narratives. Eva Braun's photographs remain a chilling, invaluable record of that hidden world.